The Austin police chief and Travis County DA are now at odds over criminal charges against several officers related to the 2020 racial justice protests and riots.
Sources say a grand jury indicted 19 officers, though the DA would not say how many. The DA was critical of police and called information uncovered disturbing. The police chief was critical of the DA. And the Austin Police Association said the announcement by the Democrat DA is a disgrace and political. Dallas County DA is currently conducting a similar investigation here and facing the same charges and accusations of all being politically motivated. Fox 4's Blake Hansen has a story tonight. Blake.
And Stephen, Heather, although it was already public that these grand jury proceedings were underway, the results of the grand jury proceedings are already drawing criticism, not just from the police unions, but also from the city's police chief.
The special grand jury considering these matters has concluded its work.
Travis County District Attorney Jose Garza briefed reporters Thursday, although he did not say at the time whether any officers had been indicted, much less on what charges. A source tells our Fox Austin station the grand jury indicted 19 officers over their roles in the May 2020 protests and riots following the murder of George Floyd.
We also believe that the overwhelming majority of victims in the incidents that were investigated suffered significant and lasting injuries.
Earlier in the day, before news broke of the indictments, police organizations demanded the district attorney hold off on any announcements until after the primary and runoffs. Early voting started Monday.
There's absolutely no reason for you to continue your political prosecution of these officers. We ask you to stop now.
The exact basis for the indictment is not yet publicly known. Organizations representing police believe it is due to officers using less lethal beanbag munitions during the protests. The munitions ultimately injured several, some critically. The Austin Police Association says those munitions were stored improperly, defective, and more harmful. It claims rank-and-file officers were just following commands with no knowledge of the issues.
You know, if there's officers that have done something wrong, we understand, but these officers were only doing what they were told to do with the equipment that the city of Austin provided them during those days of the riots.
Within an hour of the DA's announcement, Austin's police chief, Joseph Chacon, held a news conference of his own to defend his officers. He was flanked by APD command staff and Austin city manager.
I am not aware of any conduct that, given the circumstances that the officers were working under, would rise to the level of a criminal violation by these officers.
Chacon reiterated the department has made changes since the protests. He was an assistant chief at that time.
The weapons provided to our officers did not perform in all instances in the manner anticipated. APD recognized this and now prohibits the use of less lethal munitions in crowd control situations.
Just last week, the office of Dallas County District Attorney John Creuzot charged 2 officers for their role in the May 2020 protests and riots in Dallas. It included charges tied to the use of less lethal munitions. The Dallas Police Association, like other officer organizations, called it politically motivated, with Creuzot running for re-election. And also earlier in the day, Austin city leaders agreed to pay $10 million in settlements with 2 protesters who were injured during those events.